Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here, and welcome to a video that's a little bit different from what we're used to seeing on my channel. I feel like I've done a lot of Sims 4, especially in the last 2 years, because obviously I haven't really been going out and about living my usual life, but I also feel like in those 2 years a lot of people have joined us, people phase in and phase out of YouTube channels all of the time, and it's been a really long time since I kind of just sat down, reintroduced myself, let you all in a little bit, and get to know Molly. My name is Molly, for those of you who might not know. I know sometimes when you come across a channel, you don't know someone's real name. Hi, my name is Molly, my pronouns are she, her, and I go by the EnglishSimmer online. Say that every single time I have a Twitch raid, so I'm very used to saying it. I've got my coffee, I'm gonna answer some of your questions that you left on my YouTube community page of just like more general things that you wanted to know about me. I also made a promise to myself, it's kind of like my unofficial New Year's resolution, to kind of help bring back the magic in my life that I felt I had as a kid and like a young teenager. And so this year I'm really all about doing that. So I figured, why not make a video that makes me happy? I think this one is very relevant for the first question of this Q&A. Do you ever get bored of The Sims but have to push through and play to create a video? Obviously, like I said, in 2020, I was so heavily invested in just like playing video games and doing so much content because I wasn't doing anything else. I wasn't really leaving the house. Like, I was sat in front of my computer for a very long time. So I think everyone gets bored with their Sims game. It's just the way that a lot of people play The Sims. That's kind of like the life cycle of how we play. Like, we get super into it for like 3 or 4 months and we build all these houses and we create all these stories, and then you could like not pick it up for the next 6 months and then all of a sudden see like one video on the clock app and be like, oh my god, my Sims, they're gonna hate me. So I definitely feel like that's always been a way of playing. I definitely get bored, but I do think it actually helps my channel rather than hinders. Because like sometimes if I'm bored with a specific series, I'll be like, what can I do today to like switch it up? What can I do in this family to make it a little bit more interesting for myself, which in turn is gonna make it more interesting for you lot who are watching and consuming my content. And then other times if I'm just like, oh, I'm not really feeling like playing this save today, I can just like go in and it actually like kicks me into thinking of different ideas that I maybe hadn't have thought of. I think The Sims is one of those games where its strength is not having to stick to one single save. Like, you could do something completely different, and if you're bored of something, you can completely switch up your gameplay. A question I don't see much about these Q&As: what's a pet peeve in your followers' behavior? What's something people do sometimes in your chat or comments that you really can't stand? I kind of have two that like really infuriate me, and sometimes it's not even because of the way it affects me. I just kind of don't like the sort of vibe that we have around content creators sometimes. So the very first one is being like overly familiar. Like, I genuinely see you lot as friends. Like, I chat with you week in, week out, day by day. You lot leave comments about your family or how you relate to me, and I really like that. Most of you are fully aware of the fact that you only see a slither of me online. Like, I don't post a lot of stuff online. I will talk about like my family, my friends, what I've been up to, and I chat to you like you would a friend. And I think it's really weird when people get like overly familiar, especially when it comes to like appearance or like romance and stuff like that. I really don't like it. It makes me feel icky, but like that's just not on me either. Like, I don't want to see other content creators go through that as well, unless they've obviously stated like they're okay with that. And then also like pointing out how like, oh my god, how do you have so many subscribers but you have so few views, or you have so few comments, or your chat's so slow. Honestly, we know. Like, I don't think any content creator in the game needs anybody to point out like that they might be going through a shit time or they're in a little bit of a trough, because content creators aren't always on the up, and like we've kind of come to terms with that. You put a lot of effort into a video and then the views, like it just doesn't perform well due to like YouTube and just like how people are consuming content. So that is also a thing that kind of grinds my gears a little bit. Please don't do it. Michaela, I absolutely love this question. What are your hobbies outside of the digital world? Like I said, I was super online all throughout 2020. I tried to switch it up a little bit in 2021. I started giving myself basically weekends off. And I think in 2021, I kind of flipped and did a whole 180 and was like, I want to get out and I want to do things. And I think that kind of like meant that my 2021 online kind of fell flat. So this year, I'm trying to find the balance. I have started doing a lot of things this year that aren't to do with like online. Obviously, a big part of like my friendship groups are online. Like I will get on and chat with people on Discord and play games. Like I absolutely love that and I wouldn't change it for the world. We like watched films and TV shows and stuff like that. But what do I do that isn't online? I got super back into rollerblading last year. I have like sets of rollerblades. Let me show you my rollerblades because they're super cute and also very gay. I actually haven't taken these ones out yet because I got them like towards winter, and we all know how the UK is for rain, but they're like pink and red flames and I absolutely love them. So I want to do that more this year. I've also this little guy who has been chilling in the background of my videos pretty much since I started. Also chilled in the corner of my room at university, was never played. I've actually promised myself that I'm gonna learn guitar. I have already started. My fingertips feel numb right now, especially like these three. There's no feeling there. Absolutely loves going for drives as well. Like driving and just listening to music calms the shit out of me. It's one of my favorite things. I really love just like driving to the beach or driving to a body of water, like water parks, streams, any like form of water I'm all for, which I have started going sea glass hunting an awful lot. This gets me out of the house for like hours on end. It like keeps my mind focused, and also I get to do it with my nieces, which is really, really sweet. So I got a jewelry making kit off one of my nieces at Christmas, so hopefully I can start turning like these into rings or necklaces maybe. And last year I also bought an inflatable paddleboard, so I want to do more of that this year because it makes me really happy, and I definitely don't exercise enough because I'm always sat behind my PC, and I really think I need to like get out there a little bit more this year and actually be active rather than just going outside. What was the first game you remember playing that you completely fell in love with? This is super interesting. I've been gaming pretty much since I could like hold a controller in my hand. We had Nintendo consoles. I always had a Game Boy with me, like stuck to my hip when I was younger. I think probably Pokemon Ruby was like a massive one. That was like the first Pokemon game that I completed like by myself, and also Tony Hawk's Underground. I had it for the GameCube. I was obsessed. Me and my niece Lauren literally used to sit there. We used to put on CDs and just jam out to like Jesse McCartney whilst playing. And obviously The Sims, but I didn't want to say The Sims because you all know that. Nicole wants to know, this is interesting. This is funny. What do you tell people you do for a living? I'm always curious about that. It's a weird one. Like, it definitely depends on who you're talking to. Like, if I'm talking to a person who's like aware of like online content creation and like playing games for money on the internet, then I will tell them that that's what I do. I'll be like, oh, I stream on Twitch. I'm also like a YouTuber. I do gaming content, and usually they'll get it. If I'm talking to someone who doesn't really know it, if I want to sound professional, I'll be like, oh, I'm an online content creator. Or if I want to be really generic, I'll just be like, I just play video games on the internet for people to enjoy, which I think gives people like a good summary of what I do. People will either dogpile on you and be like, you're not a real gamer, you only play these games, that doesn't mean you're a gamer, how the hell do you get paid for that? That's not a real job, go out and get a real job. And it's like, okay, well, I'm making money and I do what I love, and that to me is a real job, so thank you very much. Do not need your input. Or people will find it really, really cool. I was at a comedy show a few months ago and we were sat literally front row, and I was like, no, please, I don't want to do this, because I knew if they asked me what I did for a career and I told them that I'm a YouTuber, I would have probably had the shit ripped out of me. Luckily, she didn't ask me, she asked the person behind me who actually had an Etsy shop selling 3D printed vases of naked ladies, which in my opinion is way more interesting than what I do as a career. So I was blessed. Quite literally hit the motherload of what the person behind me did for a living. So thank you very much for taking the heat off me. Would I do the Bachelor/Bachelorette challenge again? I really enjoyed your last one. I always like to try and do new challenges. I really want to do a challenge this year. So I don't think I'll do like a Bachelor/Bachelorette again this year, but in the future I definitely might. I did tweet out like once, I'm never doing this again, because like people just argue, but I definitely don't think it was bad this time around, which I'm very, very thankful for. I know, like, people have feelings to Sims. Like, I get attached to Sims very easily as well, so I fully understand like where it comes from, but then also I do have to remind myself sometimes that it is just a game. Sora says, have you heard of a game that came out in August last year called Spiritfarer? Yes, I have. It's so weird that you asked this, because you say, have you thought about playing it on your channel? I absolutely have. It's actually one of the games that I have written on my list for what I want to play on my channel in 2022. So watch this space if that interests you. I cannot wait to ball with you all. Feel like it's really gonna bring us together. We can have a fun little cry together, because it's meant to be a super emotional game. Which Life is Strange game character is your favorite? See, honestly, this question is better than being asked who my favorite sim is, because like picking your favorite sim is literally like trying to choose your favorite child. I would say before True Colors, I hands down would have said Rachel Amber. She is my baby. I love her. I love her confidence. I love just like everything to do with Rachel Amber. I think she is such a complex character, and the fact that like I fell in love with her based off 3 episodes was really like powerful in my mind. I will say Steph Gingrich is also like a close second now, if not like on the same level. I absolutely adore Alex. Alex is actually my favorite pro tag that we've had in a Life is Strange game for sure. So Alex is also a very close second to those two. Jessica, I would like to say a big thank you for your little preface to this question. Absolutely love that you were like, hey, if this goes over boundaries, absolutely feel free to skim over it. That is absolutely fine. Am I currently in a relationship? No, I am not. I am single. Also, what is your sexuality/pronouns? I wanted to answer this because I did like an official coming out really on my channel as bi. I'm not bi. I am a lesbian, and I tweeted about it. It was kind of that thing where I was like, oh, I feel like I've come out as bi on the internet, and I really didn't want to feed into the bi as a stepping stone, because it's not. There are many people who are bisexual and know that that is their label, and it is absolutely not a stepping stone. It is a very valid, very real sexuality. I think I personally was just holding on to heteronormativity though, of like this expectation that I should like people who are men. My pronouns are also she, her. I am a cis lesbian woman. I always love your rings. Thank you, Jennifer. What the heck? I didn't do this to fish for compliments, but I actually love it. Where are they from? This little like rainbow one is actually by Cami Scott, who is a lesbian YouTuber. I don't think she has this anymore though, unfortunately, because I would absolutely buy a second one. This one is so scuffed up. It's also the only ring that I've ever found to fit my little finger. This one is just from Pandora, not gonna lie, quite
quite a lot of my rings are just from Pandora. These two are, again, 2-stacker rings from Pandora. I've had them for years. Some people complain about the quality of Pandora. This one has like little diamonds in it and I've never lost one of them. So I don't know what it is. I think it just like depends on which ring you got. And then this little colorful one that I also wear on my thumb is from Thomas Sabo. So a little bit more pricier. And then I also wear this one quite a bit, but I actually have eczema on my fingers. And so when that flares up, I can't wear this ring. But this was just from a little antique vintage shop. Vintage shops are great for rings. I feel like they have so many different varieties and they're always super cheap. If you weren't playing The Sims 4 as your job, what would you work as and what jobs did you do before? And did you enjoy them? I actually didn't have any job before I happened to fall into YouTube in university. But yeah, I kind of just did that as my job in university, which was really, really nice. And it was so cool to kind of have an audience that was also in university and go through that experience together. I think it made my content like so relatable, which was really, really nice. I did actually do like a year working in games. I enjoyed, but it was a lot of hard work. Like I definitely think that everyone should do a customer service job at one point in their life. I think it actually like makes you a better human. I think it helps like being able to understand what people go through on the daily when it comes to like being part-time and working with customers. I think it helps you as a customer to be nicer to people. I think if I wasn't playing The Sims though, I think I'd probably just do something to do either in the games industry or with social media. I don't know if I would have fallen into that without doing this first. I think I always wanted to get into like maybe like publishing. I've also always been interested in radio as well. So like maybe I could get into radio at some time. Am I too old to have a Sims 4 channel? No. Sometimes I feel archaic. Sometimes I feel like a dinosaur. I'm turning 28 this year. Sometimes I get comments that's like, I can't tell if you're 60 or 19. So you're absolutely gonna get those sort of comments, but duck off a water's back, baby. You are living the dream. I say don't hold back your creativity for anyone or anything and do it. I was gonna try and pronounce your username. I have this really bad thing with usernames where I will like shorten it to a word that, so for example, I would call you Mag, but then I don't know if it's Majami, Majami, Majemi, I have no idea. So Mag, what's your favorite thing about Manchester? I absolutely just love the people, like genuinely. I think Manchester city centre is one of the coolest places. Like I quite enjoy London, but only for short stints. And I just feel like Manchester is a more compact, like friendlier London. I love the amount of different people that you can meet up with. I absolutely adore like Affleck's Palace and Canal Street. I love the vibrancy. I love the people that you meet. I love just everything. Music is such a big thing here. It's just such a fun city. I also adore Newcastle like a lot. Newcastle's like wild on nights out, but then like quieter during the day. Whereas I feel like Manchester is just like always alive. Ooh, Erin. I actually forgot to mention that I actually started reading a lot more recently as well. That's another hobby that I got into. But what are your favorite books? I'm really bad for this. I will read a book and then forget everything. Like my mind does not hold information all that well. It holds like video games. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I am obsessed with. I know it makes me sound basic. I feel like everyone and their mother, I literally bought it for my mum. It's waiting to be read on her Kindle. I feel like everyone's read it within like the past 2 years, but I've never read a book and like devoured it quite so quickly. Absolutely adore it. I think it was a great story. I love the characters. I cannot wait for the TV adaptation. I am so excited. Also, We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. I actually can't really remember the specifics of that book. I know it's very sad, so absolutely like look up trigger warnings before you look into that book. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's one of those books that really like stuck with me, even though I can't remember it all that well. I remember reading it at the time being like, wow. Like, I really love that book. I also adore the Simon Snow series by Rainbow Rowell. I have only read the first one and halfway through the second, but I do really, really like them. I know you're all gonna be like, Priory of the Orange Tree, because I did just recently say that I was reading that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved, again, the characters in Priory. It wasn't the strongest book though. In my opinion, I feel like it was really like dragged out for like 700 pages, and then the last like 100 pages, I was just like, wow, that could have definitely, the plot could have been like, I don't know, kind of stretched out more equally. I feel like it was all round really enjoyable, but I wouldn't put it down to like one of my favorites. The characters though, definitely some of my favorite characters. And there we have it. Those are all the questions. I hope I can edit this down to less than half an hour, because holy shit, that's a long video. But that's actually why I love recording this type of stuff. Like, I really just wanted like a reset. I wanted a reintroduction of me. If you have any other questions, leave them down below. And I love getting to know you lot as well. If you want to answer any of the questions, also leave that down below. I want to know more about you just as much you want to know more about me. So thank you all so much for your questions, especially considering it was on my community page, which I know I don't upload the most to. I should probably get better at that. But if you managed to see it and left a question, I very much appreciate you. If you're new here, welcome on in. I'm very happy to have you. If you've been watching for like 7 years, what the heck? Thank you so much. How are you still here? But I appreciate all of you the exact same, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.